Yes, well, our good friend Muhammad, he was talking to a lot of pagans, and whenever the pagans really liked something, Muhammad would either just keep it, like he would do with the Kaaba and with the black stone and with the the Hajj rituals and so on. He would either just keep it and then come up with some story. So, oh yeah, we'll still continue, bowing down to the Kaaba, but Abraham built it, and you just make up something like that. Or he would replace the paganism. He would replace the pagan element with something that looks almost just like it, but is Islamic in nature. And Muhammad does.
David Wood. David Wood, the same David Wood who tried to kill his father with a hammer and was put into a mental hospital by his mother, is repeating the same old, stupid, refuted bullshit over and over and over and over again. He's talking about the about so-called pagan rituals being incorporated into Islam. Now I have with me now. Let me just talk about the Kaaba and the black stone, which is what he brings up in that brief clip that you saw. Now I have with me right here the history of Al-Tabari, the history of Al-Tabari, volume 6. So in the history of Al-Tabari, volume 6, page 51, it talks about the history of the Kaaba, and it says Hashim bin Muhammad uh, was told by his father, the story of the two gazelles of the Kaaba is as follows. The Kaaba had been destroyed when the people of Noah were drowned, and God commanded his friend Abraham and Abraham's son Ishmael to rebuild it on its original foundations. This they did as stated in the Quran. In the Quran chapter 2 verse 127. In the Quran chapter 2 verse 127. So basically there was a pre-Islamic notion, or there was a pre-Islamic Arab belief that Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba in Mecca. The Quran testifies to this. So if the Prophet Muhammad was making up the story of Abraham building the Kaaba, then he would have been called out for it. But there's no record of this, because the Arabs before Muhammad was even born believed that Abraham and his son Ishmael built the Kaaba. There was a pre-Islamic belief regarding this. Now it's true that the Old Testament doesn't mention Abraham building the Kaaba in Mecca. That's true. I'm not denying that. But not everything about Abraham is recorded in the Old Testament. So, but regardless, there was a pre-Islamic belief or notion that Abraham and his son built the Kaaba, as found in the history of Al-Tabari, volume 6, page 51. And then if we read the Hadith in Sahih Bukhari, etc., there was also a belief that Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba because they found there were pictures of Abraham and Ishmael in the Kaaba. The Arabs would talk about Abraham building the Kaaba, etc., etc. So there was a pre-Islamic belief that Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba. Now, why this is not in the Old Testament, I don't know. Why is Makkah not directly mentioned in the book of Genesis? I don't know. But if you read Galatians chapter 4 verse 25, Paul talks about Hagar and Ishmael being in Arabia, and Christian scholars have concluded, or they've proven, that Hagar and Ishmael were sent to Arabia after they were banished by Sarah in the book of Genesis. So if you read the commentaries on Galatians chapter 4 verse 1, Galatians chapter 4 verse 25, Christians themselves admit that Hagar and Ishmael were in Arabia. So if Abraham was building altars to God in the book of Genesis, then he certainly would have built an altar in Arabia when he was banishing Hagar and Ishmael in the book of Genesis. But regardless, my point is not to prove that the Bible shows that Abraham went to Mecca and built the Kaaba, because that's not in the Old Testament. That part is true. But my point is there was a pre-Islamic belief or notion that Abraham and his son Ishmael built the Kaaba. As I said, according to the history of Al-Tabari, and Al-Tabari recorded the history of the Arabs, or what the Arabs believed about their ancestors and what their ancestors built. Their ancestors were Kedar and Ishmael, as found in the Old Testament, and the Arabs believed before Muhammad was even born that Abraham built the Kaaba. This is a pre-Islamic belief and not a belief that the Prophet Muhammad invented. Again, see the Quran, chapter 2, verse 127, and see the history of Al-Tabari, volume 6, page 51. As for the kissing of the black stone, well, the Prophet Muhammad kissed the black stone to respect it, not to worship it. If David Wood kisses his wife, does that mean he worships her? Kissing something doesn't necessarily imply worship. It's just a sign of respect. Moreover, the black stone, according to the Prophet Muhammad, was a stone from heaven or paradise, found in Sunan al-Nisa 2935. The stone was actually a stone from heaven and not just like a regular stone. So that is a special stone from paradise or from heaven, according to the Prophet Muhammad and according to Islamic belief. So Muslims or the Prophet Muhammad kiss the black stone to respect it, not to worship it. So if kissing something implies worship, then don't kiss anybody. Don't kiss anything. Don't kiss your wife. Don't kiss your kids. Don't kiss your husband. Don't kiss your nieces, nephews. Don't kiss anybody. Your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. If kissing implies worship, kissing implies respect, not worship, not necessarily worship. So this is just basically what I wanted to say, is that there's no pagan practices in Islam. Abraham and his son Ishmael built the Kaaba. So these were or according to pre-Islamic Arab belief, Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba. And later on, the Arabs became pagan, but the original foundation of the Kaaba and the rituals of the Hajj, going around the Kaaba, etc., were instituted by Abraham and his son Ishmael, according to pre-Islamic Arab belief. So, this refutes the idea that the Kaaba and the Hajj are pagan in ritual, and kissing the black stone is pagan in ritual. Kissing the black stone means the Prophet Muhammad kissed the black stone to respect it, not to worship it. There's a hadith where Umar ibn Khattab said, "I'm only kissing you because I saw the Prophet Muhammad kissing you." That shows how insignificant it was, or that just shows how kissing the black stone did not hold that much weight. Umar ibn Khattab kissed it to respect it, just like the Prophet Muhammad kissed it to respect it. And Umar ibn Khattab said in that hadith that I'm only kissing you because I saw the Prophet Muhammad kissing you. That shows that how insignificant the stone was by itself. Because that stone, according to Islamic belief, came from paradise. So that's why the Prophet Muhammad kissed the black stone. Kissing means respect, not worship in this context. So this is just the 2 points I wanted to refute about the Quran about pagan practices being allegedly incorporated into Islam. The Prophet Muhammad was adapting pre-Islamic beliefs of Abraham and Ishmael building the Kaaba, and this was an ancient belief held by the Arabs of Mecca, which Islam later on incorporated a monotheistic believers' rituals into the practice of Islam. So there's some other things, but for example, in that video he talks about mutta. I'll talk about mutta in another video. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible, or just to have this video stick to one particular issue without dragging the video out too long. Stay tuned, more videos are coming up ahead.